Hey everyone, today I am back in Final Fantasy XIV with a quick video before the launch of Dawntrail to talk about the things that I will be doing to level all of my alts to level 100. I'll cover some stuff for 80 to 90 as well for those that are looking to get your Viper and Pictomancer up, and then also things that you can do for 90 to 100 or 90 to 91 for when you want to go and bridge the gap to your first leveling dungeon if you're looking to spam dungeons. So we'll divide the video in 3 parts. We've got the weekly stuff, the daily stuff, and then the grinding things that you can do, although some of these might intertwine a little bit as well, as you might be able to do some daily stuff while grinding other things out as well. But let's start with the weekly stuff. The most important thing that you can do right now, today or tomorrow, is go and pick up a Wondrous Tales book from Chloe Eliapo, and apparently I can't use this while I'm sitting down, so I guess we'll stand up right here. Wondrous Tales. The reason why you want to pick one up right now before Tuesday is because you can complete this one right now. You don't have to care about lines, just 9 seals is enough, and you can carry the book into next week because you have a 1-week grace period before turning it in. So you want to just get line seals right now, and then once Dawntrail comes out, you turn it in and you immediately grab a new book for next week's reset, during which Dawntrail is releasing, and then you can turn in that second book as well. Wondrous Tales gives about half a level of EXP, doesn't matter what level you are at, so it's always going to be worth carrying a book around. And when you're spamming dungeons, for example, you can just retry whatever it might be that you are doing, and then just basically get that seal back. You'll be getting a bunch of second chance points anyways when you're doing these leveling dungeons, because a lot of people are just going to be doing them for the first time, so it's just really easy to finish your Wondrous Tales within the first couple of weeks of the expansion. Always worth bringing around. If you want to just get that little of extra boost when the expansion comes out, make sure you pick one up before Tuesday, and might as well finish it now, so that you don't have to basically play around with it when the expansion is here. Just get yourself a quick little boost. Another thing that you can do is the challenge log. Now, for the most part, challenge log entries are pretty easy, like for example, do 5 dungeons. That will just happen on its own. Do a couple of commendations as well, that's another good one. And then when it comes down to fates, do 10 fates. Pretty easy to do, but sometimes you might just kind of not do fates for a week or something like that, and then you might forget about these. Another important thing when you're doing the dungeon ones is make sure that you're on a character that can actually receive the experience reward when you complete your 3rd and your 5th dungeon. You might be doing expert roulette at the time, or just doing a max level dungeon when you finish these, and then you're just going to be wasting the experience. So when you get that message that says that your challenge log is almost complete, just go check which one it is and then make sure that you finish it on a character that can receive the experience. So those are your 2 weekly things that you can do. The challenge log isn't too crazy, but Wondrous Tales I would definitely recommend you go and grab, because that is just a lot of experience, and for the most part you'll probably just be able to finish it without really having to go out of your way to go and complete the different duties that it wants you to complete. Then we go into the daily stuff. Now, of course, if you've been playing this game at all, duty roulette exists, and it is still one of the best ways to get experience from the day to day. Leveling roulette is of course going to be the best one over there. There's a couple of others that you could consider, like for example the max level dungeons one, trial roulette. Main scenario is really good, but it takes a very long time as well. Same thing for alliance raids. Now that we cannot guarantee to go into the lowest level alliance rates anymore. Frontline, not 100% sure on anymore, but it used to be really good back in the day for EXP. So those are basically a couple of options that you can choose from. For me personally, I'm going to do leveling every day. Outside of that, maybe I'll do like trials or 50-60 depending on what I feel like, but for the most part it'll just kind of come down to what you want to do or the situation. Like main scenario can take a long time, but if you're doing it while eating food, then you just kind of like do 2 birds with 1 stone. You're eating food, which requires you to not really play the game much, and then main scenario kind of helps with that as well. Then moving on, we have the Beast Stripes. Now of course Beast Stripes, we have the Arca Sodara in Endwalker. We won't have one yet going into Dawntrail, but this is still going to be really good for leveling both your Viper and Pictomancers to level 90, and it's also still decent experience to go from 90 to 91, so that you can get into that first leveling dungeon of Dawntrail. For me personally, I'll just be using this on Viper and Pictomancer, and then once those are level 90, I'll use it to get all of my other classes to 91, and then I probably won't be doing it anymore because the experience you gain past 90 is not really that great, but it is still something that you could be doing if, for example, you're in a queue for leveling roulette, takes a while, It's just free experience that's there waiting for you, so you might as well do it if you want to spend the time. Speaking of wanting to spend the time or doing things while you're waiting for a queue to pop, we have the hunt marks. Now these you can go and pick up in Razat Han, in like the little cafe area restaurant thing on the top of the map. There's 3 different ones. You've got the normal ones, you've got the slightly higher ones, and then the big ones. I don't exactly remember exactly what they were called, but basically there's 3 different builds that you can go pick up. They all have a bunch of mobs on them. You might as well go and kill them. There's also a nice website called FFXIV Daily/hunts, I believe it is called. I'll leave a link in the description, where you can literally just open up the map and you type in the name of the monster that you're looking for. You just do that for all of the different monsters, and then it will create a route for you to follow that is the most efficient to kill all of these hunt marks. So might as well pick up these things, type it in on the website, and just go and kill some monsters while you're waiting for your queue to pop. Again, the ones for Endwalker are going to be the most efficient, going for 80 to 90, whereas the ones in Dawntrail will be best going from 90 to 100, because we're going to be getting new hunts when we go into Dawntrail, so you can go and pick them up over there as well. Again, if you haven't unlocked the ones in Dawntrail yet, or you just want to get from 90 to 91, you can still be using the Endwalker ones for that as well, because the experience is still sort of okay for that. And that then leads us into the grindy stuff. Now, of course, the first thing when you think about grinding, it is going to be doing the leveling dungeons. Do the highest level dungeon that is available to you at any given time, and you can just go in there and do a couple of runs of that to gain some experience. If you're looking to get from 80 to 90 on Viper and Pictomancer, if you just want it to be your first class, then you can also go into Eureka Orthos, the deep dungeon. That one is very good for that as well. And then there is of course the Fate grind. Now for Fates, there's most likely going to be this little thingy coming up again, Shared Fate. We had it in Shadowbringers, we had it in Endwalker. Dawntrail will probably be no different, and there is also that challenge log entry that requires you to do 10 fates a week, so you might as well go and do a couple of fates. They're good experience. Maybe you just want to do a couple of fates to like hit the next cap, to go into the next leveling dungeon. Like say for example you're like 10-20,000 XP away to hit the next dungeon, you don't want to do another dungeon run to hit that XP, you might as well go do a couple of fates. They're good experience. They'll also be giving you those gemstones that you can then use to trade in for some items. And then last but not least, 2 little extra tidbits that you can do to grant yourself more experience while you're grinding stuff out is, first of all, use food. Food gives you 3% bonus experience. It's very easy to get. Like for example, there are some low level grapes that you could use that cost like 1 gil or something. Just get a stack of those. It's gonna last you basically for the entire expansion of you leveling classes. It costs no money at all, and it's just 3% free experience while you're grinding dungeons. In the same vein, you'll also want to make sure that you have another experience boost active from your free company, from the free company actions. Now I don't have one over here, but it's called Heat of Battle. Free company should be running that. If you're not in a free company, or your free company is running other things like Helping Hand or Earth and Water, which is for gathering and crafting, then you can always go and grab a Squadron Battle Manual instead. This will only last for 2 hours, but it is still going to be granting you a 15% experience boost nevertheless. So if you don't have an FC, or your FC might be running other buffs, you can use this one as like a personal FC Heat of Battle buff for yourself. If you don't have squadrons unlocked, well, then that's kind of unlucky. Better go join an FC in that case, but it is something that can help you out as well. So as a little bit of a TLDR, for the weekly stuff we have Wondrous Tales, which I can definitely recommend you do every single week until you're done with leveling all of your classes, because it is just amazing value. Then there is the challenge log. Just make sure to check back every now and then that you're able to claim the experience on a class that actually needs the XP and not one that is already max level. For dailies, you've got your roulettes, your beast stripes, and your hunts. Beast stripes right now is mostly going from 80 to 90, but when we get new beast stripes in Dawntrail a little bit later down the line, you'll be able to use that for 90 to 100 as well. And then if we're just going to be grinding, Eureka Orthos for 80 to 90, leveling dungeons and fates for 90 to 100. Make sure you always have food on you when you're doing dungeons, and fates as well for that matter, and then also make sure that you have an FC buff going, or that you are using the squadron buff that grants you bonus experience. And those are pretty much all the things that I'm going to be using when I am leveling my classes from 80 to 100, because I will be leveling Viper and Pictomancer as well, of course. If you have anything else that you would like to add, feel free to leave it down in the description. And with that, I think I've said just about everything that I wanted to say, so I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in Dawntrail.